The restaurant is packed tonight, but I can't stop staring at the empty chair across from me. It's our anniversary, 15 years since Emily and I became best friends. She texted an hour ago saying she'd be a little late. But I already know she's not coming. Because right now, she's with my husband Mark. What they don't know is that I've discovered their secret. Not just the betrayal that's torn my world apart, but something so much darker. Something that will make their affair look like child's play. By tomorrow morning, both their lives will be destroyed. And I'll be the one who brings their world crashing down. Let me take you back to where it all began. 3 months ago, my life looked perfect from the outside. I had everything I thought I wanted: a beautiful house in Seattle's Green Lake neighborhood, a successful career as a pediatric nurse, and most importantly, a loving marriage to Mark, my college sweetheart. The kind of man who'd bring me coffee in bed every morning and leave little notes in my lunch bag. "You make my world brighter," he'd write. "I fall more in love with you every day." Then there was Emily. My best friend since sophomore year of high school, when we bonded over being the only two girls who chose robotics club over cheerleading. She was more than a friend, she was my sister in every way that mattered. The person who held my hand through my father's funeral, who stayed up with me all night when I had my miscarriage last year, who knew every dream and fear I'd ever had. The three of us were inseparable. Sunday brunches, holiday gatherings, summer barbecues, Emily was always there. "You two are so lucky," our other friends would say. It's rare to have a spouse and best friend who get along so well. The first change was so subtle I almost missed it. Mark started keeping his phone face down on tables. He'd take it with him everywhere, even just to grab the mail. If I walked into the room while he was texting, he'd quickly switch to his email app. Small things. Tiny red flags I kept pushing away. Then came the changes in his schedule. Suddenly, he had late meetings 3 times a week. He joined a new gym, though our home gym had everything he needed. Weekend errands that used to take an hour now stretched to 3 or 4. The traffic was terrible, he'd say. Had to go to multiple stores. Always with a reasonable explanation. I started doubting myself. Was I being paranoid? Controlling? Emily was the one I turned to with my fears. We'd sit in my kitchen, drinking the fancy tea she always brought over, and she'd listen to my concerns with such understanding in her eyes. "Mark adores you," she'd say, reaching out to squeeze my hand. "Remember how he surprised you with that trip to Hawaii last year? Men who are cheating don't plan romantic getaways." She'd share stories about her own relationship insecurities, making me feel less alone. "It's normal to have these fears," she'd assure me. "But I've known Mark as long as you have. He's one of the good ones." I believed her. I trusted her. That's what makes what happened next so much worse. Last Tuesday started like any other day. I was working from home, using Mark's laptop because mine was being repaired. He'd left it open on the kitchen counter, something that should have been my first clue that something was different. He never left his laptop out anymore. That's when the message notification popped up in the corner. From Emily, "Last night was amazing. I can't stop thinking about you. Still feeling you on my skin." You know how people say bad news hits you like a physical blow? They're right. I actually felt the air leave my lungs. My coffee mug slipped from my hand, shattering on the floor. But I barely heard it break. With trembling fingers, I clicked on the message thread. And there it was. Months of messages. Hundreds of them. Going back to January? Right after my birthday party, where Emily had given a tearful speech about our friendship. About how I was the sister she never had. About how watching my love story with Mark had taught her what real marriage looked like. The messages started innocently enough. Friendly chats. Inside jokes. Then came the flirting. The secret meetups. The photos. They'd been meeting at her house every Thursday while I was at yoga class, the same class she had encouraged me to join. "It'll be good for your stress levels," she'd said. "You need something just for you." They'd stolen moments at family gatherings, right under my nose. At my nephew's funeral, when I thought Mark was comforting Emily in the church garden, they were kissing behind the rose bushes. The same nephew she'd helped me care for during his last months of chemotherapy. But the messages weren't just about their affair. They talked about me. Laughed about me. Mocked my trust in them both. "She actually asked me if I thought you were acting distant," Emily wrote. LOL. "If she only knew why you're so tired after our Thursday meetings." Mark's response, "Sometimes I feel bad. But then I remember how happy you make me. We deserve this." Deserve this? Deserve this? My stomach churned as I kept reading. But then I found something that made their affair seem almost insignificant in comparison. Hidden in their message thread were discussions about money. Large sums of money. Emily works as the financial director for Hope's Heart, one of the largest children's cancer charities in the Pacific Northwest. The same charity that had helped support my nephew's treatment. And she was embezzling money from them. Millions of dollars, siphoned from donations meant for sick children. Mark, with his accounting expertise, was helping her hide it. They had offshore accounts. Fake charity events. Doctored financial records. They weren't just betraying me, they were stealing from dying children and their desperate families. I sat there for hours, documenting everything. Taking screenshots. Saving files. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely use the mouse, but I knew I had to be thorough. I couldn't just expose their affair, I had to bring down their whole operation. That's when I found something that made my blood run cold. A message from Mark to Emily, "What if she finds out? We need a backup plan." Emily's response, "I've thought about that. If she discovers anything, we'll say she's unstable. Remember her depression after the miscarriage? We'll use that. Say she's having another breakdown. No one will believe her over us." I've already started dropping hints to our friends about being worried about her mental health. They hadn't just planned to betray me. They'd planned to destroy me if I ever found out. But they made one crucial mistake. They underestimated me. They thought I was the naive, trusting fool who would never suspect her loving husband and devoted best friend could be capable of such betrayal. They forgot that before I became a nurse, I spent 2 years studying forensic accounting. They forgot that my brother, who died of cancer last year, was an FBI agent who taught me everything he knew about gathering evidence. I spent the next week playing the perfect wife and friend. I smiled through dinner with Mark. I met Emily for our regular coffee dates. All while quietly building my case. I contacted the FBI's white-collar crimes division. Sent them everything I'd found. Then I reached out to 3 other former employees who'd left Hope's Heart suddenly over the past year. Turns out, they'd suspected something was wrong but could never prove it. Now I'm sitting in my car outside Emily's house, watching them through the window. They're having wine, laughing, and probably congratulating themselves on another successful deception. Emily's wearing the red dress I bought her for Christmas. Mark has his hand on her knee, the same way he used to touch me. Part of me wants to storm in there right now. Throw open the door and watch their faces as their perfect little world shatters. But I've learned from their betrayal. Sometimes revenge is a dish best served cold and with federal agents. I grip my steering wheel tighter as memories flood back. All those girls' nights with Emily where she listened to me cry about feeling disconnected from Mark. All those date nights where Mark held my hand across the table and promised we'd grow old together. Last week, I found Emily's diary in her desk when I was helping her organize her home office. Pages and pages about their affair. How it started with innocent text messages last Christmas. How they first kissed in the parking lot after my birthday dinner. How the guilt actually made it more exciting for them. The diary entries made me sick, but they also made me stronger. Because between the lines of their twisted love story, Emily had carelessly mentioned details about the charity fraud. Account numbers. Dates. Names of shell companies. Everything the FBI needed to build their case. I also discovered why they started stealing in the first place. Emily's gambling addiction hidden from everyone but Mark. She'd lost hundreds of thousands at underground poker games. Started small at first, borrowing from the charity's accounts. Then bigger amounts. Mark helped her hide it, and somewhere along the way, their secret meetings about money turned into something more. But here's the detail that breaks my heart: they were planning to run away together. To disappear with the stolen money and start a new life, leaving me with nothing but questions and emptiness. They'd already bought fake passports. Had a house waiting in Costa Rica. They were going to vanish during our upcoming family vacation to Hawaii, a trip Emily had helped me plan. "It's so romantic that you and Mark still do couples vacations," she'd said while helping me book the tickets. "You guys give me hope that true love exists." All while knowing she'd be stealing my husband in just a few weeks. The irony? If they hadn't gotten so cocky, I might never have caught them. But they thought they were untouchable. Started getting sloppy. Left their messages undelete. Their tracks uncovered. Their guard down. Tomorrow morning, everything changes. The FBI will be waiting at Hope's Heart's annual board meeting. Emily's scheduled to present the financial reports I now know are completely fabricated. Mark will be there too, playing the role of supportive accounting consultant. I'll be there as well, watching from the back of the room as federal agents walk in. I want to see their faces when they realize their world is crumbling. When they understand that their victim wasn't as naive as they thought. My phone buzzes again. Another text from Emily: "Can't wait for Hawaii. Just bought the cutest new bikini. The three of us are going to have the best time." I text back a row of heart emojis, fighting back the urge to vomit. 3 hours. Just 3 more hours until dawn. Until justice. The lights in Emily's living room dim. I watch their shadows move closer together on the wall. Time to leave. I've got a meeting with the FBI task force at 5 a.m., and I need to be sharp. As I drive home, my wedding ring catches the streetlight. I used to think it was a symbol of endless love. Now I know it's a reminder that the people closest to you can be wearing masks all along. I park in my driveway and take a deep breath. Mark's car isn't here, he texted earlier about working late. Again. I almost laugh at the lie. Our security camera shows him leaving for Emily's at 7 p.m. sharp, right after I pretended to go to bed with a headache. Walking into our house, the home we built together, I'm struck by how different everything looks now. Our wedding photos on the wall feel like scenes from a stranger's life. The blanket Emily knitted us for Christmas makes my skin crawl. The kitchen where Mark made me breakfast just this morning feels tainted. But I'm not falling apart. Not anymore. Because tomorrow, I'm taking back my life. The sun is rising now as I finish writing this. In 2 hours, I'll put on my best suit, fix my makeup, and walk into that board meeting with my head held high. Emily will probably hug me, tell me she loves me. Mark will save me a seat near the front, playing the devoted husband one last time. But at 9:15 a.m. exactly, everything changes. The FBI has enough evidence to put them away for years. The affair, the embezzlement, the fake passports, the planned escape, it's all coming out. Their perfect little love story ends in handcuffs. You know what's strange? Part of me is grateful. Grateful they got sloppy. Grateful they left evidence. Grateful that their betrayal led me to uncover their bigger crimes. Because now I'm not just their victim, I'm the one who brings them to justice. People always say revenge isn't the answer. That holding on to anger only hurts yourself. But sometimes, channeling that pain into purpose can save more than just your own heart. Those millions they stole? It's going back to the charity. Back to helping kids like my nephew. Back to giving hope to families who deserve it. Tomorrow, Emily and Mark will learn a valuable lesson. Karma doesn't just catch up to you, sometimes it brings the FBI along for the ride.